Today we're looking at another inexcusable lie present in Tom Clancy's The Division 2. The number of things in this game that we've had to deal with being either written wrong in the talent descriptions, or working in an intuitive, seemingly random way, or just being broken is quite high at this point. And some of these things have gotten better. So the title is a little clickbait. Obviously not everything is a lie, but what I have today is absolutely unacceptable. There's no reason why this lie should exist in this game. It should be able to be pulled directly from the game code, but for some reason, it's inaccurate. Some players know about this, but I'd guess most don't. What we're talking about today is reload speed. Hey agents, it's Dispatch. Welcome to the channel, where we talk about the math, builds, lore, and game design of Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Let's get stuck into it. The stat sheet doesn't actually tell you what your actual in-game reload time is. Alright, so we'll talk about how I got turned on to this, how I tested it, I'll show the testing, and then we'll talk about some conclusions. I got turned on to this from testing done by Fog of War, who I've mentioned many times before. You might think that it's pretty easy to test this. Just look at when you start reloading and how long it takes. Easy. No, it's not easy. First of all, weapons fire very quickly and don't always produce a muzzle flash. The ammo counter doesn't always keep up with the number of rounds fired. The damage numbers from our weapon run off the screen, so you can't see those either. The animations don't necessarily visually start from when you stop firing, and you can start firing before the animations are over. This one's particularly easy to see with LMGs. If you hold down the fire button during your reload, you'll start firing as soon as the reload is finished. You'll see the top feed cover of the LMG isn't closed before this starts. We're dealing with differences in tenths of a second range in most cases, which is very hard to nail down in these scenarios given all these problems, even when going frame by frame. So given all these challenges, I tried to simplify the testing down to as concrete as I could. This is the test that I conducted. I went over to the time to kill section of the range. I would aim at a target and press the fire and reload buttons at the same time. This way, the timer in the range would start at the same moment that the reload was triggered. As the reload was underway, I would depress and hold the fire button to ensure that the next bullet was fired as soon as the reload was done. I could also do this with the final bullet in the mag to get the empty reload time. You might immediately see some issues with this. Give me a minute to explain the problems and why this testing is still useful. Just remember, we're not testing to find the reload speed necessarily. We're testing to see if the reload speed in the stat sheet is accurate. I'm not going to go through and test every single weapon. Ain't nobody got time for that. Instead, this is intended to call out the devs and tell them to just put the right values in the stat sheet. Why do we even have to ask for this? It's very frustrating. The first problem is that while I'm trying to press the reload and fire at the same time, a number of things can make it so that these won't happen at the same time. Maybe I mess up a press and they didn't happen at the same time. Maybe my mouse and keyboard have different latencies. However, this is a conservative test. If I press the reload slightly beforehand, I'm unable to fire. This happened a number of times. If I press the reload slightly after, that means that our tested reload is slightly longer than it should be. So, if it's still shorter than the stat sheet reload, we've still confirmed that the stat sheet reload is too long. In addition, we should be able to detect if more than one bullet is fired, meaning that our margin of error is one firing interval. Another problem might be that the timer for the in-game range might just be wrong. This again is a margin of error issue. If it's off by a significant margin, we should be able to detect it, and I can verify with my recording software by counting frames or other analysis. Having the timer directly on screen makes things a lot easier on my end and removes the possible error and effort of trying to find the start time of the reload. If you could come up with any other possible problems with this testing, let me know in the comments. Alright, so what are the results? As we can see, things are pretty bad for LMGs. The Negev here, stat sheet says the reload is 3.7 seconds, but let's see it at half speed. That's actually 2.6 seconds. That's more than a full 1 second off of its stat sheet reload. That is crazy. Alright, the F2000. almost a half a second off. Stat sheet says it's 1.8, it's actually around 1.4. Alright, so those are some of the results of the tests I ran. As I said, I'm not going to test every single weapon. At this point, it's clear that at least some, and I'd guess most, of the reload times in the stat sheet are wrong. Maybe they correlate more closely with the empty reload, but it seems even too high for even that. Besides, almost no one reloads from empty. Tac reloads are much more common. So that is the reload time that should be in the stat sheet. You might not know this, but there's actually two different types of reloads in the game. One is tac reload, where you're reloading when you still have bullets in the mag, and then there's empty reload, which is where you completely run your magazine dry and then reload. There's some debate about how different these two are, but basically the tac reload is faster, maybe by a little bit, maybe by a lot, but those are the two different types of reloads. At this point, I'm pleading with the devs. Please just put the correct reload times in the stat sheet for all our sakes. That's all I've got for this one, agents. Please like the video if you liked it, and if you want to support this kind of content. Put your encouragement or critiques in the comments below so I can do better. All feedback is welcome. I changed up the equalizer for my voice recording based on the feedback I got from one commenter. Let me know if it's better or worse. I am sick, so hopefully it turned out okay. Check out our playlist for more content that suits you, and of course, subscribe. Alright, agents, until next time, this has been Dispatch. Take care out there.